Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new 2023 BMW 740i. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Check out their website, that link is down in the description. So the 740i you see behind me is finished off in carbon black metallic, and we'll go over the MSRP once we go over all the specs and features and get this luxury style sedan out on the road. So let's start off with what powers this. It features the 3-liter twin power turbo inline 6-cylinder engine that's paired with the 48-volt hybrid electric system along with the 8-speed automatic transmission that pumps out 375 horsepower, 383 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 4,700 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 5 seconds with a top speed of 130 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 19.5 gallons. You'll expect to see around 25 miles per gallon in the city, 31 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 126.6 inches. Its overall length is 212.2. It has a width of 76.8 and a height of 60.8 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling for the all-new 740i, you'll notice this still retains the kidney grille right in the middle, much larger than the previous generation. This model has a forward-facing camera, even a nice trim running through the entire grille, where this also has active grille shutters. So these pieces right here will actually open to provide even more cooling to this engine. There's parking sensors, even the forward-facing sensor, which is going to be hard to see. They've incorporated it very nicely within that grille. So that is for the adaptive cruise, of course. This also has a new design for the headlights. So you'll notice the turn signals and the DRLs are in the upper section, headlights and high beams are in the lower section. So there is a split design with the bodywork running right through them. And there is plenty of cutouts in the lower section of the bumper, as well as the functional cutouts on each side to provide even better aerodynamics and cooling. And then there are some nice lines that come down the middle of the hood there with the BMW badge. I think it's a really nice refresh and completely new design for the 740, for the 7 Series in general. It definitely looks very nice. Now this model also has the upgraded 21-inch wheels with a two-tone design. You can see that multi-spoke pattern to them, and this even has the blue brake calipers just behind that. It has the body-colored side mirrors with the camera and the integrated turn signal, a gloss black for the base of them. And then we have the full moonroof with more black trim surrounding the windows to tie it in very nicely. There's also more gloss black in the lower side skirt there. Now the new 7 Series is a little bit more boxy for its design, especially with that A-pillar there and then coming back just behind that rear glass. So it has a much more bold and aggressive look compared to the previous 7 Series. So comment below, what are your thoughts of the exterior so far? As we wrap it up, we'll take a look at the rear, where the backup camera is incorporated into the BMW badge itself. This gets a set of LED taillights. All of the parking sensors are in the lower section, where you will see some chrome trim accents which match nicely with the inner housings of those taillights. And then we have a little bit of some small fins and that diffuser, just to add to some of the aggressive designs for this rear end. So let's move on to the cargo space now. I can use the button on the key fob. This also has remote start. So you can see the 3 times there you have to tap on the BMW badge in order to start it up. And then we have the button on the side, or you can actually use this button right here to open up the power trunk. And with that opened up, and you can see there is a ton of space. There's a cubby over on this passenger side, no room up underneath the floor, and then there is a small cutout for the back there if you need to put in larger items. But there's an ample amount of room. For the 7 Series, you would expect this to have a lot of space. And then up top, you can use the button on the right side to close and lock it. The one on the left side will just close it. As we move on to the back seats now, you can actually lock and unlock this using the back door handles. So that is very convenient to have. And for this interior, you'll notice that these sunshades are currently up, so it does have that option. The rest of this door panel is finished off in beautiful leather, which gives it a great look. You can see the electronic release in order to exit the vehicle. There is the manual release underneath in case that does not work. A little bit of storage space, lock and unlock with the window control. there's even a pad here where you can go through some further information. I will come back to this once we enter the back seats, where you can see more of that beautiful leather. For the 7 Series, you have a ton of space. So at 5'10", it is incredibly easy to enter these back seats. I have plenty of room for my feet and my legs. There's storage pockets behind both front seats, some trim around the air vents, a little bit of storage up underneath. And as far as headroom goes, I have around 2 or 3 inches. Such a plush headrest. You could definitely be chauffeured around in the back of the 7 Series. I think this is probably where you want to be. Now, as we come back to this small pad on the door panel, you actually have a lot of controls. So we can go into the displays here. So you have your brightness basically for all of that. You also have your phone. If you go into My Modes, you have a few different modes here that you can go through. When I click on Relax, that sunroof or sunshade for the upper and rear section will automatically close. So that gives you more of that relaxing vibe to get any of the sun or whatever is around you out of the way. Now we also have all the controls for the blinds, so that way you can click on them. I can retract that one in the back, so you will see that operation appear there. You can open and close all of them. You also have the lights as well as your climate menu, so you can go through all of these functions when you have them turned on and go through the fan speed, all of these, which is very cool to see. So you have a lot that you can go through on that system just from the back seats. Now right in the middle, you will notice that we have the armrest, a little bit of storage with all the auxiliaries there. And then on this pad right here where you could place some items, if you open this up, you can actually slide out the rest of the cup holders there. So that is a pretty cool design. And then there's that cutout that I mentioned earlier. If you need to pass any items through, you have the option to do that. So you can't fold the entire back seat down, but you have that accessibility if you need it. As far as visibility goes, it's pretty easy to see all around, even with the sunshades up at the moment. And we can use that electric button to open up the door and work our way to the front door panel now, where this is just like the rear. However, there's the addition of all the seating adjustments, finish off in crystal. There's the memory seating adjustments. We even have the massaging seats with some ambient light running right through the middle of that. There's all the window controls, side mirror adjustments, which are power folding. We also have the electronic release with that manual adjustment and a little bit of storage space as well. And then beautiful front leather seats to match the rears. And it's just as easy to enter these front seats. We also have the Bowers & Wilkins audio sound system for this specific model. The entire steering wheel is finished off in solid leather. There's the M badge with the flat bottom design. On this left side, these are all the cruise and adaptive cruise control settings. On the right side, you'll see music along with voice commands, Bluetooth controls, volume, and a few controls for the gauge cluster. Let's fire up this 740i. With that crystal button down below, we can bring this to life. And starting off with the digital gauge cluster, you'll notice right now miles per hour is front and center, and there's really no other information that you can see. Now if I go over to this button right here and push on that, now you can see on this right side there's content as well as the heads-up display. So going into content, if I scroll up or down, you will see that information change depending on what you'd like to see. You can even pull up the navigation there. There's also the compass. You have your audio when you have that on and running, and then you can go all the way back up to the reduced view. You can also go over to the head-up display where hopefully the camera can pick that up. We have the directional view, there's also a sport view, and then a reduced view. So you will see the miles per hour is always fixed, and then we just have a few other settings depending on what you need to see. So it's not a whole lot of information, but it is very easy to go through. And this even has paddle shifters. You will see boost on that left one, and then we have the positive paddle over on that right side. Now on the left side of the steering wheel, you'll see more of that ambient lighting. There's also a control for the air vent. We have another control for the lighting as well, and then a few other controls for that. There's some wood trim just above that. And then as we make our way to the infotainment system, I'll just push on the home icon where you can see navigation along with radio and phone. You have your personal assistants. You can go into My BMW here where you have some content that you can look at. You can even go into a bunch of vehicle apps to set up everything the way that you would like to. There's your route preview. You can even add some more information as needed. You can also go to more of these icons to really get this dialed in how you would like it. And then we have other shortcuts for your music and phone along with the navigation. Now you'll notice too that there are no physical buttons for the climate controls because they are always fixed in the lower section of that screen, along with the temperature dials on both sides. Now you'll notice on this left side, we have the heated steering wheel control, heated seats. We also have the fan speed and where you'd like the air to go. And then all the passenger controls are over on that right side. Now there's more of that wood trim just underneath that. And then we have more of the air vent controls. There's also the rear defroster, hazards. This is how you actually open up the glove box. So it is electronic and then manual to close. There's some other air vent controls just underneath that too. And then right in the middle, you will see a wireless charging pad. There are 2 cup holders, which you can actually close. So if you're not using them, you can hide them away. There's even an ambient lighting strip just in front of them too. Now looking at this crystal rotary dial down below, you can use all of these to further go through that screen with shortcuts that you can see just in front of that. So if I click on navigation, you can quickly get there, you can get into your media, and then go back to home, and then use that rotary dial to further go through this. You can even zoom in and zoom out on that nav. So it's very nice to be able to do that, just depending on what you'd like to use. The volume control is also finished off in crystal. There's seek and track just behind that. And then we have a shortcut to the parking system. You can see the backup camera right now with the top-down view. There's also some shortcuts, so that way you can see around this. If we go to the assisted view, we are back to here. We have the panorama, so it's the full screen. And then you can even go to the top-down view, and then we have the camera, which you can adjust to further clean the vehicle. So it's pretty cool to have all of these different settings. It gives you a lot of visibility. And then we do have the gesture control, or you can just use these to see around the entire vehicle. Now this also has parallel parking assist, which you can activate, and the parking with the BMW app. Behind that, you will notice my modes. So just like you saw from the rear, you can go into all of these modes, just depending on what you'd like to see for the gauge cluster setup. And then we also have another button here for your driver assistance and your chassis. So if you go into this, you can go through some of this information just depending on how you would like to have this set up. And then to actually put this into reverse and not use that shortcut icon, we have the crystal shifter. If I push that forwards, that is for reverse. All the way back is to drive, and then you'll see the forward-facing camera pop up, where you can actually pull this up in the same setting here. Now you can see the entire front end. And then we have the parking assist too, where you can see that change. So it's pretty neat to see that. You can pull it one more time for the sport setting that allows you to use the paddle shifters. And then there's no actual park. So you just push on the electronic button and that is automatically going to put it into park. There's the auto hold just behind that. Now you will notice right in the middle, we have some perforations for the center armrest because that is heated. And then you have a good amount of storage with some auxiliaries where you can charge even more electronics. Now, like you saw earlier, the sunroof is power folding or power operated, so I can open that back up where you have a pretty cool design within it too. And this provides a lot of lighting for the interior. So it is nice to have that. The dome lights are also on both sides. There's a call button on the back side too. So as we get behind the wheel now for the all new 740i, this model has a price tag right at $100,000. Now I have been in a few of the other 7 Series models. I've been in the i7, which is the fully electric version. I've been in the 760i as well, which has a lot more horsepower, different engine than the 740 that we're in right now. So it's very cool that you have different 7 Series options to go with, depending on your budget, what you are looking to go with. And for the 740i we're in right now, it's not fully loaded. So at 100 grand, there is some price to increase or room to increase with some other options, but we have a lot of nice amenities and features for the exact model that we are in right now. What I love about the 7 Series is you're basically driving a couch for the roads. It is so comfortable, so quiet. There's really nothing you can hear from the outside. And then as far as power goes, we're not in the most performance-oriented 7 Series. But just like that, this is not a vehicle that's going to slam you into the seat as far as any of the trim levels go. It's something that's gradually going to get you up to speed quickly. Even with this 3-liter engine, it just has a lot of power to just move the weight of this vehicle too, and get you up to speed. You can also change what you would like to see for these graphics with the driving modes there. So just depending on your style for the day. And then as far as the performance goes for the 740, we're gonna use the paddle shifters now as we come up to this right turn. You can feel the weight of this, but honestly, that took that very well. And this might sound redundant if you watched my other BMW videos, but what I love about BMW is even though this is not a performance-oriented version, you still have amazing handling characteristics. We do have the M Sport package as well to give you a little bit of those performance characteristics. So I love that even in a luxury-focused sedan like this, it drives like you would expect for a BMW as far as the performance goes, which is very cool to see. Now on this left paddle, as I mentioned earlier, this is a boost paddle. So if I hold it, we now have a countdown from 10 seconds to give you a little bit of extra boost if you need to pass on the highway or some situation where you need additional power. Now, it doesn't give you more overall horsepower. Basically, it's just going to downshift for you and give you more usable power quicker, so that way you can do what you need to do. And honestly, I wish I was in the back seat right now, because this is amazing to drive from the driver's seat, but getting chauffeured around in the 7 Series is probably where you want to be. But if you're buying this, you're looking for that ultra luxurious, very comfortable daily driving vehicle. And as we drop it to a second gear, we have a right turn. You can definitely feel the weight for the 7 Series, but it's very composed feeling even for the weight of it. Now again, 100 grand for the 740i. When you think about it, it's a lot of money for a BMW, but I think when you compare it to some other luxury brands, it's not all that bad for what you're getting, especially for the tech and the all-new redesign for the 7 Series in general. So if you're looking for a brand new vehicle, something different, something bold, and it has a lot of usable technology, it's not all that bad in the spectrum of ultra luxury style sedans of this size and what it has to offer. Now, of course, you can go with higher trim levels. You can go with the 760, which is going to cost a lot more, of course. So it just depends on your budget and what you're looking to get out of your sedan. We're going to change the driving mode again so you can just see the funky graphic. And so we will do another acceleration with the driving mode. Now it is in a different position for the gear, so it's at the lower section there. And nothing too crazy. What's impressive too with the shifts, unlike some other performance style BMWs, you can't even feel the shifts. Even using the paddle shifters, the 7 Series is supposed to be comfortable and luxurious to drive. So you don't want to feel the shifts. You don't want to feel that minor hiccup where you might move in your seat a little bit or feel some jerkiness from the shifts. I'm downshifting right now, and it's probably rev matching already automatically, so that way you can't feel it, you can't even hear it. You can't hear like you would in a manual or another vehicle where you downshift, the tach goes up, you can hear the higher revs. This has none of that. It is exactly what you would expect when you want to drive something of this style. And then you can also see that the lighting changes with the driving mode too, in that entire strip that I showed earlier. It would be easier to see at nighttime, but nonetheless, it is still there for you. And as far as the size goes, not all that bad. We are going to have to put it into reverse here. Some of the other models you can opt for rear wheel steering, which is nice to see. And then we have the camera system, which of course will help. And visibility is not all that hard to see around, which is great. But that's going to wrap it up. We'll do one last acceleration. And that is going to wrap it up for the all-new 2023 BMW 740i. Once again, huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this for me today. Check out their website, give this video a huge thumbs up, and smash that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.